This episode of Dana Being Dana is brought to you in part by Dr. Lance Law and Dr. Mihaela Bogdanov at Comfort Care Family Dental.
Hello, and welcome to Dana Being Dana. I'm Dana Michelle, and I'm thrilled you're with us. My show is about all different aspects of the human connection, things that bring us together, and living life intentionally. Today, the focus is exclusively on men, and you will hear from 5 of them directly. Men remain a mystery to many women, and I'm sure the opposite is also true. So the insight will prove invaluable. Are you ready? Men are often viewed as providers in the family and home. Do you think you fit the stereotype of the traditional male provider?
Hey, Dana, I'll take that one. I would say no. I think that when I think of traditional, you go to work, you come home, and kind of everything's there for you, and you just kind of focus on being the financial provider for the family. I have 2 daughters, and so 2 teenage daughters, as a matter of fact, and so for me, it's a little bit more. So it's that plus kind of coming in and sharing the responsibilities of the home with my lovely wife. And so when I think of traditional provider, for me, it's a mix between, yes, I go out and I'm the primary financial giver, but there's also, I would say, the operational type of things that happen in the household where I do participate and expected to participate in as well.
I echo what Elliot said. I think that there isn't really a traditional role that men just fulfill. I know in my house that it isn't that as well, that I'm similar to Elliot in the sense that I have a child. It's just me and him. I did have a wife. I am a widower. But in terms of things that I think modern men do and enjoy doing, we enjoy mixing things up a little bit and getting our hands dirty as fathers and as providers in our home, from helping with feedings with babies to later on having those logistical things that we do. It isn't just a 9 to 5 come home, help out with discipline or help out and just pay bills. It's really being engaged.
And I think with the changing of the times, particularly now, what are some of the challenges for men as providers and protectors in this time of pandemic, social and political unrest? How has that impacted the male role?
I would think, or I would respond with this, that given the current climate, especially for African-American males, myself being African-American male, having male children, sons who I know have to go out into the world and face a world that is not necessarily welcoming to them, it does weigh on me heavily. Right. Knowing that there are dynamics in our society today that makes my expected role as protector, it calls it into question a bit, because I cannot be a direct protector of my children as they're facing certain dynamics in our society. So it does weigh on me a bit, facing our current social political climate.
I feel definitely, there are challenges men faces, like losing motivation, mental health, physical challenges, and emotional challenges they have, and especially some men who lose their jobs or lost their jobs. They will have major emotional as well as mental challenges, and plus taking care of young kids, their fees and all those things. I feel that.
I think it's communication, especially in a virtual environment, both at home and school and at work. Communication is ever more important, and communication, transparency, and I know that as a father. My daughters don't come to me with everything, right? So there's certain things where you have to, you kind of have to check your ego at the door and kind of relearn how to communicate, right? Because as a male, we want to fix things. And while, growing up with girls, they don't necessarily want you to fix things. They just want you to listen. And so there's a lot of external factors that are impacting, their day. And so just being able to communicate and just listen, sometimes it's hard for a man because we want to rush to solution.
That's true. That's true. So let's break it down a little bit. Exclusively reported here, what is man code, or can you explain the bond of men? Inquiring minds want to know.
I think it's very important, but I think it's also, you really kind of talk about everything. You're comfortable in that position. And I think, I don't know, it's just a different way. It's a way for you to kind of just be yourself, I guess. Because when you're in the real world, or you're working, or you're, with your family or their family or whoever it is, you kind of have to just talk a certain way. And when you're talking with your friends or your guys, you really kind of feel more comfortable, I guess.
Yeah, but there is a side of man code where I do think it's that it's how you want to be remembered. And whenever you think about what man code is, it's a word is your bond, caring for others sort of thing. And whenever you think about it, it's, again, if you weren't here tomorrow, if you weren't in the room with a group of people, how would they view you? And it's living by that code that leaves others feeling like you're there for them and feeling like you left things better than you walked away from it.
That's great. On a more serious note, I want to talk about men and men's health, because I think it's something that we don't often talk about. And I wanted to ask you, gentlemen, do you think that men prioritize their own health as they should, or like they should?
And I will take that question because I have practically seen, or, myself, I will be very truth right now, that I have taken my health for granted, I can say. And I have seen some of my friends or known people who have taken health for granted, and they have not, has been, what I can say is they have never focused health as their top priority. They have focused their top priority as their job and family. So that is my take.
You have to take care of yourself first so that you can take care of others.
It's like that oxygen mask on the airplane.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you all are, friends of mine and great, ambitious men, lawyer, CEO, businessman, scholar, community leader, financial services. So you guys are all out there hustling hard, which I think is important. And that's why I think the whole conversation with respect to health is so important. I want to talk about influence because you all are very ambitious. Who or what has been your greatest motivation or influence for all that you do?
I think for me, it's really about my family. And it's not like a single person. I mean, my grandpa's my hero, and he came here and he wanted his number one goal in life was to bring his family here to the United States from China and give them this opportunity. And then when he did do that, it was great. You got to take advantage of all the opportunities that you can get.
Well, I think of my mother and my father and other family members as very influential. I also, in response to your question, think of lots of men in particular that did little things for me along the way, that set examples. Friends, older gentlemen growing up, right? Friends' fathers, my father's friends, people that I run across now that are older colleagues that set examples for me as a father. And I think it's important both as a man to seek out those good mentors and role models, but also now I realize, being a single father, that it takes a community to raise a child, right? It takes a village, they say. And there's lots of people that I really appreciate having seen now, especially other men. Like, look, I'm my son's father, and I take that role very seriously and am trying to teach him how to be a man and raise a good man. But at the same time, I fully appreciate that there's lots of people out there that come into his life and my life and are there for him as well.
That's great. That's great. What are you most proud of as a man?
I take a lot of pride in my faith and in just in being able to talk about Faith, and try to set the right example for my two daughters and my wife. We tend to, I'm just saying, me as a younger me was very focused on career. And now, it's still important. However, putting it into perspective, my openness to faith has led me to be a little bit more present. And so for me, being able to kind of step back and be comfortable saying that, where, it's my career is not my ultimate priority right now. That's hard. It's hard to say. It's hard to hear, but it's something that I've become a little bit more comfortable saying over the last 12 to 18 months.
I think for me, I would say I'm very proud of the relationship that I have with my children. I have 6 children, 4 boys, 2 girls. And when they tell me, hey, I appreciate you for being so understanding and so reasonable and being compassionate in your capacity to listen. When I hear my children tell me that, I'm very proud of that because I was very intentional about being that kind of father. So I would say that's what I'm most proud of.
I will add something to that. I feel that, building relationship, I'm proud of that, and a connector. So I connect with people very fast, build relationship. And in the family, outside the family, anywhere it is, I connect people, build relationship, and that relationships carry for long, And apart from this, yes, professionally, I'm proud of what I have achieved in my career. In last 22 years, like in between, I got promotion for 5 times continuously for 5 years. So that again, I feel good, feel happy, and proud of that achievement.
We are talking about faith, and we are talking about the things that make these men proud. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with Men on Dana Being Dana.
Hello, I'm Dr. Lance Law, part of the husband and wife team at Comfort Care Family Dental. I'd like to be the first to welcome you to our office. We strive to make every visit a relaxing and stress-free experience. The desires and needs of you and your family will be our primary focus in delivering the quality dental treatment you deserve. We offer a wide array of dental services. You can relax and enjoy most procedures all at our convenient state-of-the-art facility. Your dental needs will be well explained, and all questions will be answered by our educated and well-trained team. We pride ourselves in making every patient part of our dental family. We strive to be the dental provider where you will be proud to refer your friends and loved ones. Please give us the opportunity to be your new dental home.
Stay in the know at home or on the go with NCTV 17 News Update. This quick recap of everything happening in and around town will be delivered straight to your email inbox for free. Sign up today.
Welcome back to Dana Being Dana, where we are talking to men exclusively about men. Now, we can't do a men's show and not talk about emotions. And women want to know, why is it so hard to connect to men emotionally? So what would you say to that?
Sometimes it's hard because as a man, I do think it's important to have a range of emotions, to let your emotions out. Sometimes with women where it can be hard is if you open yourself up and there's no reciprocity, or if there is unduly harsh judgment. Just like I know sometimes women want men to listen. As a man, whenever you open yourself up to a woman, you're not necessarily looking to be fixed or corrected. You're looking to share and develop a connection and a bond.
Yeah, I'll add to that. I think it's two things. One, I mentioned it earlier, where I think, we tend to want to fix things. So there's no room for emotions. Like, okay, you have a problem, let's find a solution, let's fix it. Where to Mark's point, we may want to listen. And I think too is how we were raised as boys, right? Don't cry, or, toughen up. And so I think, raising, how boys have been raised myself, to be like, men don't cry, men don't show emotion, be strong. I'm a crier, I'm a hugger. I'm okay with that.
And I just want to say that Elliot, at all of our secret men's meetings, Elliot is the one who's always hugging and crying.
Are you breaking man code, Eugene? You breaking man code?
Just giving you a peek, just a little peep into man code.
So what makes you feel loved, supported, or respected as a man?
I mean, I think it depends on the man, right? I think some, I don't know if y'all read the 5 love languages, right? But I think everyone is triggered differently. I would say for me, it's recognition. That's how I feel respected and just, yeah, I know you're working hard. I realize you're balancing a lot of things, to kind of thank you and appreciate what you're doing.
Honestly, my biggest thing is just loyalty at the end of the day. I'm going to be here for you if you're there for me. And that's really all I expect. And I don't think that's, too much to ask.
And to build on what Wilbur said too, I think there's a reciprocity there. Don't pull back. Live in the moment. Dream with me. Once you connect, definitely don't pull that away. And I think that's part of respect as well for one another, is realizing who we are as people, and that to tie something together too. I'd heard as men we're fixers, and we like to be doers. And part of feeling loved is dreaming about doing together. And like I said, not pulling back once you start to have some of those, just moments together.
You've talked about emotions, you've talked about childhood, being boys. Do you think that men in general need more therapy? And kind of breaking down the stigma of therapy and mental health.
I think so. I think men they're less likely to be vulnerable, or they want to be vulnerable. And I know a lot of people that, see people or talk to people, and it really helps. And so I'm definitely an advocate for it. I think there's so much that goes on in a man's life. And like they said, you have that perception of you got to be strong, you got to be tough, you can't be a wuss, you can't, right. You got to, take care of certain things, and, and also, what you want people to perceive you as. And I think going to a therapist and being able to talk about it, I think it helps. I really do.
And Dana, I think too, from a cultural perspective, so being a Latino male, mm-hmm. you don't grow up, you don't talk to anybody about your problems. So, kind of growing up, again, it's kind of the upbringing where it's, it's not okay to talk about air your dirty laundry to a stranger. Right. And so, I think those things, they have to change, because to the points made, right. It's equally important, and it's a requirement, right. In terms of, how to move forward.
I agree with Ellie. And as a man, people are not comfortable talking about their weaknesses or their issues, or, they don't want to speak out about their problems with the XYZ person. So it's better to take guidance, help from somebody who is very professional, who can guide you, help you, and put you in a good channel, a proper channel it can be.
And I think all of that is great. There are a lot of men who, speaking of therapy, who have grown up without fathers present in the home. And what is your advice for those men? You're going to be therapists for a minute. What is your advice for those men who do not have present fathers, whether they be men, young boys, et cetera? What would you say to them to pour into them?
I think it's very important for people to identify those positive role models and those resources that they have in their immediate environment. For me, it was my church. I had a great network of positive men who showed me love, but also showed me the kind of father I wanted to become, the kind of son I wanted to be. There was just magnificent examples around me. And for so many years, I always said, I don't, have father figures in my life. And one day it just hit me that, no, I do. I have many individuals men from my church who poured positively into my life. And I just had to wake up to that reality. So I would say, just look around you and gravitate toward and be intentional about connecting to those positive figures in your life.
I can add something on that, as be positive, be strong, and have faith in the God. And definitely you will do great. This is my message to those people.
Yeah, and I think faith is important there. But I would add living through the converse of that, right, with the son and being worried about a mother figure, right, that is lacking from his life, Dana. What I would say about that is if that you are, and this goes to the mothers, because you'd asked a question about if you were raising children, right, and a therapist, is seek out, because there's going to be people you see that you think are going to be there, and they're going to be there in a maternal role. And they're going to fall short of that. And you just have to help your child move on from that. And it might not be who you think it would be. It may be somebody you think would be great at it, and then they don't for whatever reason. She falls short, or in this case, he falls short if it was the converse. But then on top of that, like everybody has said, there's lots of guys out there that want to, and don't look maybe gift horses in the mouth or spots that you wouldn't expect, neighbors, somebody, a coach, somebody that's somebody else's father. I mean, there are lots of men out there that enjoy interacting with young men. And I think everybody on this panel as well probably enjoys whenever there's a younger man and they have an opportunity, even if it's just one day, to have a conversation with them, to try to help bring them along. And I think that if you're a woman raising children, raising a young man on your own, that you'll find it. There's lots of guys out there that would love to be part of your son's life.
I think that's great advice. Speaking of advice, what advice would you give your younger self?
I think the biggest thing that I've learned so far is really appreciate the people that you meet and how they help you and what you learn from them, and building those relationships. I think, for my younger self, growing up in school or, having friends and all that stuff, obviously you get into fights, or you say something inappropriate to a teacher, or all of that, and I wish I could go back and never do any of that, but you're young, you're learning. So the biggest thing that I've learned is really just appreciate the people that are there trying to help you, trying to better you, and yeah, you can't go wrong doing that. Like, there's nothing bad that could go wrong doing that.
I'd say be more present. I think early in my career, I can recall it was about the grind and, the next best thing. Be more present and enjoy, to Wilbur's point, enjoy those interactions, enjoy those relationships more, make memories there, because at the end of the day, it's who do you want to be remembered as, right? For me, it's be more present.
The real hard times will go, and the real highs, maybe, they also go and aren't quite as high as they are, but don't worry so much. Because I know as a younger man, I used to worry a lot. Yes. And I still struggle with that. But, you just got to let things go and enjoy the moment.
And I would tell my younger self to be less dogmatic and to love wastefully.
Ooh, I like that.
I like that.
It has been a pleasure hearing from these incredible men about life, love, and insight into the often elusive male perspective. Thank you to my guests for joining me for both this discussion and for being the men that you are. And special thanks to Comfort Care Family Dental. Finally, happy Father's Day to all of the fathers. Hopefully you have been entertained, if not encouraged or inspired. I do not promise to be an expert, nor do I have all the answers. I'm just Dana being Dana. See you next time.
This episode of Dana Being Dana is brought to you in part by Dr. Lance Law and Dr. Mihaela Bogdanoff at Comfort Care Family Dental.